This is Kerry Cork. This week the government learnt a lesson about being too shrill for its own good. Prime Minister John Howard went on the Sunday show on Channel 9, ostensibly to announce a $1.5 billion package to go into aged care, an important element of the coalition constituency that requires to be serviced. However, the good news story was well and truly buried by a response the Prime Minister made when asked about US presidential candidate Barack Obama's suggestion to bring the US troops home from Iraq in March 2008, when he said that terrorists would put a circle around March 2008 and pray for a victory not only for Obama but for the US Democratic Party. It's caused a firestorm as a result of a perception of interference in US politics. The response from Obama also highlighted a curious difficulty that Howard possesses. Australia only has a handful of troops in Iraq. He had a case when he said that if it mattered so much for Australia to increase the number of troops there, they can provide them. The reason that Iraq is not an issue in Australia, as it is in, say, the United Kingdom or in the United States, is not only the absence of Australian deaths, but also the knowledge of the Australian electorate that the Australian commitment to Iraq is relatively minuscule. Pumping up the issue more than it's worth is counterproductive to the government. It simply makes it look shrill. I can't see that the firestorm of commentary was intended by the government as it completely buried the aged care good news story. However, I guess they've got the advantage they'll be able to recycle it without too many people noticing. But they really can't continue making these sorts of errors. The opposition was clearly anticipating that the public discomfort about Iraq the government was suffering would lead to them winning the parliamentary week. However, the failure of Kevin Rudd to spell out his preferred strategy for an American military withdrawal until later in the week did rather make him look a bit weak, negating to some degree the advantage won by default earlier. There's also a perception that the government is increasingly trying to plant in the mind of the electorate that Rudd is attempting to be all things to all men. However, I noticed that Julia Gillard appeared on the ABC Insiders program and made remarks interpreted as a preparedness to allow small business exemption from any unfair dismissal laws that the ALP may choose to reintroduce. It'll be interesting, therefore, to see if this issue is for Rudd a Tony Blair-esque clause 4 moment. The issue where the ALP shows that it governs for everybody by taking on one of the core constituencies on one of their critical issues. The week ended in a draw, although the government can't keep on losing the first part of the week, but the big loser was Peter Garrett. The erstwhile rock singer and opponent of US bases in Australia looked incredibly weak when, within 48 hours, he turned from being ambivalent at best about the establishment of a US base at Geraldton in WA to being furiously in favour, at the behest of a party machine obviously keen to be seen to be pro-US. This is the week that Garrett went from being nuclear and environmental warrior to white-bread politician. His ability to draw environmentalists into the Labor column, one of the reasons that they wanted him in the first place, diminished forever. This is Kerry Cork.